All right. Good evening, everybody. Again, it's Dr. Justice, and this is session two. We are going to have another one next week on Tuesday, I believe, Coach Steve. And then I'm going to come and meet you guys in person next Friday. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you. I'm going to bring the Brain Track Man with me, and a lucky three or four of you guys are going to be able to see your brains, and we'll see what's going on in there. And I'm going to put it while you guys are putting and chipping, and we'll take a look. And we'll even though one person can only have it at one time, I like the other people to all be behind my shoulder and watching what I'm seeing, and I'm going to explain it to you. So the person that has the brain machine on, is kind of the guinea pig, and the rest of us are going to learn. So if you're very, very interested in it, and you want to be one of those four, talk to Coach York and Coach Poe, and we'll let them decide which three, for sure three, possibly four folks we can do next week, Friday on the 24th when I come. And I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in person, and maybe even playing a few holes with you guys. Okay. In terms of agenda, last week, I basically introduced you to some concepts. Today, I'm going to talk about neurohacks and what a neurohack is. And I'm going to give you guys a code, a free code, that'll allow you to access many more of them and allow you to essentially have a caddy with you when you go play. And I will explain all of that today. Next week on Tuesday, I'm going to talk exclusively about putting. In my opinion, I think competitive golf is essentially a putting contest with a very weird warm-up. And the warm-up is you got to get on the green. But, to me, it's the easiest place to shave strokes off. It's the least amount of technical activity. I mean, compared to a full swing at, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, a little putting stroke is not even 5 miles an hour. So there's not a lot of force. There's not a lot of body movement, especially putts inside 12 feet. So next week, I'm going to dedicate the entire session to putting next week. And I'm going to give you homework. Do you guys like homework? Probably not. I have two kids, but I'm going to send Coach Steve a video. It's a little bit long, but I talk a lot about putting there. And then when we meet on Tuesday, I'm going to explain it to you. So again, in terms of agenda, last week we talked about concepts. Your parents were there. I really wanted them to hear everything. This week, we're going to talk about neurohacks. What is a neurohack? Why would you use it? Why do you need to use it? We're going to do a few. I don't know who it was that asked me last week about humming. Who was that?
Brent.
Okay.
That was me, Coach. Or right. Justice.
No problem. So that's an example of a neurohack, but I'm going to teach you a few others. And all right, so let's start with last week. I want each one of you to go and just tell me something that you remember from last week. It can be something that you did with your parents, or your parents talked to you about it. It can be something that you used. It can be something that you learned. Just anything. Instead of me summarizing last week, I want you to just tell me one thing, and just take your time, and we'll just talk about it. And anybody can start. I tell you what, I'll just call on folks over here. That will be a lot easier. Well, actually, Brent, let's just start with you. Just one thing from last week.
Whenever you're in the red, your mind only performs at 5% of its capability.
Very good. I love that. That is a major takeaway. So what does that mean? That means that, your ability to swing a golf club, you may not even remember like the right sequencing. Your body will forget something. Your transition might be too fast. Your hips may move too quickly. You may thin the ball, scull the ball. You may not even be able to hold a target in your head. You may forget what the lie is. Oh, it's a downhill lie. I should probably aim a little bit left, or it's uphill lie. It's a side hill lie, or I need to hit a knockdown shot, or whatever the case may be. When you are red, almost 95% of what you already know how to do, not what you don't know how to do, your brain will not be able to remember. So Brent, good job. Way to get us started. Josh.
Dr. Justice, when we're talking like that, you basically, when you step into a shot, use a side heel lie like you're talking about. So you step into a side heel lie. If we're processing well, all of the natural things we know we're supposed to do will occur. I've noticed even in myself, when I get in certain conditions on the golf course inside my own head, I'll step into a side hill lie and not run through the entire checklist. So the checklist won't even come to mind.
That's right. Again, just remember, when the brain is red, there's a lot of traffic. And when there's a lot of traffic, if you let me go back and again show you this thing here. This is a red brain. It's an analogy, but it's a very good one, actually. And so when there's this much traffic, people can't cross the road, right? You got to wait till all the cars go by before you can cross the road. Now, instead of crossing the road as a person, I want you to think of your eyes noticing something, like it's a side hill lie, like your body feeling the wind behind you. So those are people that also need access to your brain, so they can tell you, whoa, 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 there's wind behind us, or we're into the wind, or whoa, 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 you have a side hill lie. When there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of competition for your brain to notice everything. So you'll forget it, even though you know it. And then after you hit the shot, you're like, oh gosh, that was downhill. The ball's gonna go right. I should have aimed more left. Yeah, you should have. And you knew that, but your brain didn't allow you to do that.
Okay.
All right, Josh?
All right. I learned that to play my best golf, I need to be in green like most of the time. I tried to find ways like last week to figure out, like as you said last week, the green light word, like the specific word you told your son. I tried to figure out a certain phrase or word for me. I'm still trying to get there, but I learned that once I figure that out, I think I'll be able to play better and get in a better attitude and mindset. And hopefully I improve my body language and just my attitude.
Yeah, and so and I'll talk to you more about this next week, but to me, one of the things that you can do to prepare for a round of golf. Now you may be saying, okay, well, what do I need to do if I'm going to go play a round of golf? Well, I got to get my shoes. I got to get my clubs. I got to make sure I have 14 clubs. I got to make sure I have a glove. I got to make sure I have balls, right? Well, in my opinion, that's all the physical stuff. What are you taking with you in your bag that can help you mentally? So, you can take a card like this. This is just a simple 3-5 card, right? And Josh, you can write down all of your, words there.
Yep. Yes, sir.
It doesn't have to be a golf word. For example, I play golf. I play in certain competitions, and on my card, I have some really fun vacations that we took as a family. I have the name of the schools that I graduated from. I have some awards that I won. I have, some compliments that some people have given me. That way, remember, when you're playing, your brain won't even remember those things. They're in your brain. So in your yardage book, you should have that list. And to me, that list of those one words, don't write paragraphs, don't write sentences, just 1 or 2 words. Just have 5 of them, and put it in your yardage book. That way, when you're not green, you can say, if you're not green, your brain won't remember the vacation that you took. That way, it's already there. It's part of your equipment that you need to perform at your best. All right, good. Alex, one thing from last week.
When we played in a match, I hummed when I started to get a little anxious to slow my brain down. That was a big thing. I did it with Brent too. It was pretty funny. We figured out my word too.
What's your word?
Brent. It's just like a funny inside joke with the team.
No, that's great. But I mean, you telling me is making you smile, so that tells me you're
Yeah.
green and you just made everybody else green.
Yeah, I know. Everyone
Right.
else should be smiling. Let me check. Oh, yep.
So
Josh has got a good laugh. So I'm happy.
yeah. So, if I mean, let's say you're playing well and you suddenly hit a bad shot, you chunk it, it goes 10 yards. Now at that point, coach can say to you or your teammate can say to you, "Oh, Alex, you got this. Let's keep going. We got a long way to go." All those cliches. I guarantee you, if that is said to you, you'll probably get more annoyed. But if someone says that word to you, whatever it is, wank, or I don't know what it is, what Brant or
It's
whatever it is,
it's Brent's name, but just like an old teammate said it like in a
oh,
funny way. So it's like Brent, but like a buzzer beater sound.
oh, okay, okay, all
Yeah.
right, good. But if someone
Old
says
teammate.
that to you, yeah, if someone says that to you, you're likely to start laughing,
Yeah.
which tells me that your brain has now moved from this very big traffic to a little bit lower traffic.
Mhm.
So you got to constantly move that needle. All right, good. Chris?
I learned that you tend to play a lot better when you're in the green, and trying to when you're in the green, you naturally are having more fun and being just happy to be there and just playing better.
That's right. Very good. Again, when there's green, your brain is operating at 80%. Just remember, and I'm not sure if you got to this part over here, but remember the brain, did we get this far? Did I talk to you about what the brain controls? Okay, good. So the brain controls your muscle sequencing. When you are green, the traffic in your brain is low. That means whatever sequence you have, whatever your backswing is, every golf shot has a backswing. Even the putter goes back, even a chip goes back. Every swing that you make, there's a backswing, which we generate in order to have a downswing to apply force to send the ball to a target. Right? The muscles do not make the decision. The muscles, they're just slaves. They take their soldiers. They take the command from the brain. If the noise in the brain is really high, then I'm exaggerating, but something in that swing is going to be off. So, even the force, sometimes you can hit a really good shot, like, oh, that's perfect. And it comes up, it goes like 20 yards longer. Well, your brain thought it was perfect, but your force that you applied was a lot different because your brain was probably red when you hit that shot. So some people say, oh, he was pumped up. That's a cliche. That's not a thing. What it means is that your brain waves were very, very high and you applied way too much force than you wanted to.
So how does adrenaline play into that?
Adrenaline has nothing to do with nothing. Adrenaline is a chemical.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Adrenaline is a term that came up 30, 40 years ago when we didn't understand the brain. I see people misuse that term. I mean, it is a hormone. Yes, it is present when we are anxious or have high anxiety or those kinds of things, but it is a chemical. That chemical is not responsible for doing something harder. But it's an old term, it's an old cliche, kind of like muscle memory. Muscle memory is not real. There's no such thing as muscle memory. So it's just high brain waves. Remember, when the cars are going really fast in your brain, all right, then everything is going to be quicker and harder. And if you time it just right, you'll be okay. But then, I mean, there's a very low probability that you're going to time it right. All right, Ethan.
From last week, I learned that getting your brain to green will open up more possibilities. So being calm and being able to perform well.
Very good. And remember what I said, when you're playing your best, it ain't a secret. All right, so don't make it a secret. Don't make playing your best some, strange place and some mystical, alignment of the stars and, oh my gosh, I hope I get there. It's not a secret. When you are playing your best, the attributes are always the same. It's always this. And I'll tell you, even at the highest levels, even at the pro level, the biggest mistake I see being made by far, this is the number one mistake, is that when you don't play very well, you start fixing the wrong thing. Usually you start tweaking your swing. Well, were you calm when you hit that bad shot? Were you confident? Were you relaxed? Were you focused? Well, if you weren't those things, well, obviously your swing is going to be off. So I see this all the time is that the first place to go is not the swing. Okay? The first place to go check in terms of fixing something that's wrong is, were you this or not? All right,
Dr.
very good.
Justice, that
Maddox?
is massive. Sorry, when you see these tour guys, they go have a round of golf, they hit it bad. The first thing they do is go to the range and they start working on something.
That's everybody. That's not just tour guys.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said is completely opposite of that.
Yeah. I am working with a college kid right now who at age 17 was on the cover of Golf Digest. He played in a European Tour event with Darren Clarke, a major winner. And while playing with him, he had 9 birdies in a row. At one point, he was in the top 5 junior amateurs in the world. Today, he's a senior at a top school, golf school. He's having a hard time breaking 72. And my biggest work with him is I have to take all the noise out of his head. Because when he started playing poorly about a year or so ago, he went to go see a new instructor. 2 months later, he saw another one. 3 months later, he saw another one because none of it was working. Now he's got 5 million thoughts in his head.
Wow.
So remember, boys, golf is a target sport. Golf is not a swing sport. You get no strokes by the quality of your swing. You get no strokes if your swing is on plane. You get no strokes by being a good ball striker. You get no strokes for being in balance. Those are all good things, but you do not get strokes for them. You get a stroke if you send the ball where you want it to go. Don't make golf any more difficult than it needs to be. Now, at your age, you probably do need some technical help, right? But make sure that that technical help is designed to play a target sport. If you are playing golf, you should never, ever, 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 so that's 6 evers, you should never have more than 1 swing thought. And guess what? You can change it. For your driver, you may have 1. For your long iron, you may have 1. For your short iron, you may have 1. For chipping, you may have 1. That's fine. One hole, you may have 1, and another hole, you may have another. That's fine. You could have many swing thoughts, but per shot, only have 1. Your brain cannot handle. Your brain cannot handle more than 1. If you have more than 1, if you have more than 1, then you are creating traffic in your brain. Okay? All right, Maddox. Maddox, you're on mute, sir.
I learned, so you remember the drill we did where you squeeze it really hard and it like clears it? So we had a match this week, and whenever I was like nervous on the first hole, I would do that and it would help calm me down a little bit.
Yes, I love that. That's awesome. Well done, Maddox. So that's called a neuro hack, right?
Yes, sir.
You remember I showed you that video of that guy when he did it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yep. So that is called a neuro hack. So we're going to talk more about those today. Cooper.
Yes, sir.
I learned that after hitting a bad shot, the first thing you have to do to put yourself back together is get your brain to green.
Very good. And what do you do to get to green?
One time in a match, I did that drill where you squeeze the grip of my club.
Yeah. Do you remember that video I showed you of that woman that was being attacked by that man?
Yes, sir.
Right. So she took the pill. Once you took the pill, then all the options kind of showed up. So that's what you have to think. You have to think that when you have a bad shot, let me take a pill and let me move my brain to green, and then I'll notice everything. Jack, Randolph.
I remember like the 5 words, like confidence, focus is what the zone is like.
Good. And are those a secret?
Secret? Nah, they're just like when you're in the zone, you get those 5 feelings and you want to get there, which is like the green.
Good. All right, Jack Wilson, last but not least.
Yeah, so in our tournament yesterday, I started off pretty good, and then I had a stretch of bad holes, and I used the tension thing on my club before my tee shot on one of the holes, and then after that, I started hitting it better, so it helped me clear my mind.
Good. So it helped when you say clear your mind. What you're basically trying to tell me was that you move this needle back towards yellow, back towards green. That's what you're really saying, right? So one of the things that I want all of you guys to start doing, and I'm going to catch you next week when I come see you, is I don't want you to use any more cliches like clear your mind and those. Just say exactly what's going in your brain. I was red, and then I did this, and then I moved to yellow, and then I moved to green. Right? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make things very, very simple for you. I have one last question, and then we can move on. Did any of you use these tricks in non-golf life, in school or at home? Alex, give me an example.
I honestly used it on a test. Like I kind of like squeezed my hand a little bit because math test. Did well on it.
Good.
Yeah, did do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So how cool is that? Because you use the same brain in golf and the same brain in your tests, you can do the same tool there. Like I mean, you're getting a good deal here. You're using the game of golf to, kind of be good students too. That's a good deal. All right, one last question. I'm sorry, I told you that was the last question. Did any of you discuss this in any way with your parents after it was over?
Okay, Josh, I'm sure you did.
I mean, of course I did, but like, so are you talking about like green light or what, like doing things like outside of golf?
No, are you the one that had the mom?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, she's there. Oh, hey, Mom. Well, Mom, what did you think about what we talked about last week?
Well, I'm a teacher, so I actually I teach AC math, and my kids had a big practice test for the big state test that they're going to be taking. So I actually told them all about the green, yellow, and red, and I had them come up with some words that would bring them to green in their mind. So they wrote those in the back of their journals, and their journals are always with them. So I'm having them just kind of remember that, and I'll say, okay, think of your word, just to kind of teach them. They're 8 and 9. So yeah. So, but They totally got it. They totally got it.
Yep. Okay. Very good. So that's okay, Josh. I know why you were quiet, because she was right there. All right. Thank you, Mom. That was good. All right. Let's get going. I'm only going to go for another 30 minutes, and then I want to save the other 30 minutes for you to ask me questions, because I really want to make this about you much more than about me. Did I show you this one last week? Do you remember this one? Okay. So you see there are 2 people here, right? So that's a live brain scan of them. Now, the young man on the left is your age, and you can see what color his brain is, right? and you see the young man on the right, and you see what color his brain is. So I want to introduce you today to the concept of baseline. Now, do you know what a resting heart rate is? So if you're sitting down on a couch and you're doing absolutely nothing, there's a baseline heart rate. For people, it's somewhere between, I would say, 25 BPMs to about maybe 40 or so BPMs. That means you're not doing anything, you're chill, you're just relaxing. That's your starting point. Do you know what your sort of baseline metabolism rate is? That's how quickly your body metabolizes food, right? In other words, biologically, we have a lot of baseline parts to us functioning very level. We also have a baseline brain. So let me give you an example. If, yes, let's say tomorrow you have a big tournament, tomorrow is Thursday, and all day today you were partying, you had 5 tests, and you went to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning. When you wake up tomorrow, do you think your baseline will be high or will it be low? It'll be very high, right? Okay. Same thing, tomorrow is your big game, but today you took all your tests, but instead of going to do something that you normally would do, you decided to go home, you decided to take a nap, you decided to just chill, you decided not to do any social media stuff at all, and you went to bed early. When you wake up tomorrow morning, is your baseline going to be high or low? Low, exactly. Now, what I want to teach you today is that, and you really have to appreciate this, but 60% of what happens on the golf course is dictated by what you do before you start, where your baseline is. It's got nothing to do with your golf swing. So you remember I told you that everybody's noise in their head right now is extremely high. That doesn't mean something's wrong with you all. That just means that you're human beings and you're kids. There's nothing wrong with you guys. You're just human beings and you are living in a overstimulated world, right? Because we have phones, we have emails, we have technologies, we're doing everything. Wherever we go, we are taking a lot of stimuli with us. So here's your first homework assignment, and we're going to practice this today, all right? So 24 hours before each round, I want you to go on what I call a neuro diet, all right? Now, let's say that you were a wrestler. Do you guys know any wrestlers? Okay. When I was in college, there were a couple of guys on my freshman hall that were wrestlers, and they had to meet a certain weight because that's their class of wrestling. And usually 2 or 3 days before, they would change their diet so that they could lose some weight to meet the weight class. Does that make sense? Have you heard of that before? All right, it happens all the time. Now, instead of weight, I want you to think of the noise in your brain. So 24 hours before. So let's say that tomorrow, let's say it's Friday. Let's say at Friday, Coach York says our match is at 1 o'clock. I want all of you to get used to the idea that the match, your real preparation starts at 1 o'clock on Thursday, tomorrow. And at 1 o'clock on Thursday, you got to start changing what you feed your brain. Okay? And I'm going to teach you how to do it. So this is called a neurodiet. So if you have a pen and paper, I want you to write this down. What is a neurodiet? I'm going to explain it to you. It's very simple. Number one, you are going to do more things that you like to do. Write that down. And you're going to do less things that you don't like to do. So I'll give you an example. Matter of fact, I'll even pull one up over here if you just give me 1 second. All right, I'm pulling it up. Just give me 1 second over here, if you don't mind. All right, let me share this screen with you. All right, can everybody see my screen? Okay, this is a tour player. This is a real tour player. And on the PGA Tour, your round starts on Thursday, right? And you can see over here that this particular guy is starting to work on his neuro diet. So he is doing things that he likes to do, and he's avoiding things that he doesn't like to do. Can you all see that? All right. These are small, small things. So let's just go through this. I'm going to go around robin again. I want you to think of something, the smaller, the better. Don't think of something big. All right, Brent, tell me one thing that you like to do. Any small thing that you like to do. It can be something that you like to do, something that you like to eat, something that you enjoy, a relaxing thing, one thing that you like to do, Brent.
Something I like to eat is Alfredo, chicken Alfredo.
Chicken Alfredo. Okay, stop right there. So just give me one word answers. Josh, what do you like? Something small.
Tacos.
Tacos. Okay, that's food. Other things. Alex, what do you like?
I don't know. Work out a little bit. Just
like
a
to
little
work
bit.
out? I'm sorry, what was the second one?
I just said just a little bit, like not too much where I like kill
Okay.
myself, but
Sure.
enough.
Like a small workout. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's be creative, Chris. Let's be creative. Something small that you like to do during your day.
Play basketball.
Play basketball. Good. Ethan, something small that you like to do each day.
Get on the game.
Get on the game. Maddox, something small that you like to do.
Like play basketball, friends.
Play basketball. Cooper, different answer.
Play with my dog.
I love that one. Play with your dog. My son does that all the time. Jack Wilson, something small.
Throw the football with my friends.
I love that one too. Very good. Jack, something that you like to do. Jack Randolph. Jack Randolph, something small.
Oh, workout.
Workout. Okay, good. So between something that you like to eat, between a workout, between playing with your pet, if you have one, and between maybe throwing the football or playing basketball, do these things make you green or do they make you red? They make you green. Absolutely. All right. So let me change this again.
Dr. Justice, can you share that with me, that list?
I cannot share this one, but we will make something up as we go along. I'll
Can
share
you
other things with you.
Would you scroll down so I can see the heading across the top?
The
Or
heading
scroll
across the top are the days,
Oh, okay, okay,
the days of the week.
got it.
All right, hold on. There we go. All right. So those activities are going to make you move your needle to the red, okay? So what I want you to do is tomorrow, starting at 1 o'clock, I want you to start doing those things. If you have a coach, if Coach York has a match, all right? Now, there's certain things that you don't like to do. That's life, all right? Brent, tell me something that annoys you that you don't like to do.
Doing the dishes.
Doing the dishes. Very good. Josh.
Homework.
Homework. Good. Alex.
There's plenty, but I don't know.
Do you like
Get yelled at? Get yelled at?
Getting yelled at. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can go on and on, right? So, maybe Brent, you can make a deal with your mom and your dad. Hey, tomorrow, I'm on Friday, I'm playing a tournament. Let me do the dishes on Monday and Tuesday. Can I skip doing dishes on? Oh, is that Dad? That ain't gonna work. Okay. let me do the dishes on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and skip Thursday, but I'll make it up over the weekend to just avoid something that you don't like to do. All right. Alex, oh, I know who said getting yelled at. Well, make a deal with your parents. So even when my son plays, for example, this weekend he has a 36-hole tournament. So he started on his diet today. And so one of the things that we do as a family is, even if he does something wrong, his mom and I say, okay, we'll deal with it on Sunday. All right. So as a rule, we say, okay, let's try and keep him as green as possible. So it's a very simple thing to do. You said you don't like to do homework. All right. Well, try to do a lot of your homework earlier in the week, so you don't have to do homework on Thursday. Another thing that I strongly recommend is you go to bed early. The day before tournament, you must go to bed early. And I'm telling you, when we are on the road, when my son has a tournament that's out of town and we got to stay in a hotel, we have dinner like 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, we're having dinner. We're back in the hotel by 7. We're showered, we're laying in bed by 7:30. We may not sleep until 9, but we're laying in bed. Right? Your brain needs a break. Right? So try to avoid a lot of stimuli. Try to keep those brain waves down. All right. So here's your homework. I want you to make a list of things that you like to do, that you can do. Make them small, nothing big. And I want you to make a small list of things that you don't like to do, that you're going to avoid. And I want you to send that list to Coach York and to Coach Steve. That way they know. Okay? And at the bottom of that list, here's the last homework assignment. I want you to come up with 5 code words and give them to Coach, put them on that same sheet of paper. This way, Coach York and Coach Steve, they know what you like to do, they know what you don't like to do, and they know what your code words are. That way, they can help you the best, right? Because they'll be driving the van or the bus, they'll be taking you to the tournament, they'll be out there. I don't know how it is up there in Georgia, but here, parents aren't allowed to say.
In Georgia, we're allowed to talk to the kids all the way through the green. So we can have full conversations at all times during the round, except for when they step on the putting green. So we have pretty good access to our kids throughout the tournament match.
Very good. So as coaches, I would say that you should probably send them some kind of a message 24 hours before and say, all right, boys, let's get on that diet, on that neuro diet, and get our baselines down. Now, you may ask me, let's go back here. Now, if any one of you were mind wandering, if you got distracted, I need you to give me your full attention for the next 2 minutes. All right? Listen carefully. If your baseline is high, like this guy over here, this brain over here, this young man, unfortunately, the minute he hits his first bad shot, or he has his first bad hole, it's going to be over for him. It's going to be very hard for him to recover from a bad shot or a bad hole. Why? Because he's already red before he even starts. And as you know, even Jack Nicklaus said, I only hit 1 or 2 good shots around. And you guys ain't Jack Nicklaus, so you're going to hit a lot more bad shots. I will hit a lot more bad shots. So bad shots is a part of the game. You must allow your brain to get back to green. So this is what I'm saying. Now, this kid on the right over here, he's good. When he hits a bad shot, yeah, he might get upset, but he won't be upset for very long. All right? In my opinion, this is junior golf. Junior golf is not about making birdies, it's about avoiding big numbers. And nobody intentionally wants to make a big number, do you? You don't want to go double bogey, double bogey, double bogey. I know you don't, but it happens. It happens even at the highest levels. So you must understand that golf is a game of adjusting. You've got to make that adjustment after a bad shot, after a bad hole, before you get to the next shot, before you get to the next hole. 1 second. Okay. I want you to write this down. I am now going to give you a definition of mental strength. It's very simple. Mental strength is your ability to make the right adjustment. That's it. Game over. End of story. When you hit a bad shot, when you have a bad hole, if you can make the right adjustment before you get to the next one, you are a tough cookie. Which basically means you're not going to let one shot affect the other. So, in order to be mentally strong, what do you have to do first? What's the first thing to do after a bad shot? Anybody, except the coaches. Anybody. Josh?
Just like deep breathe for me, like.
No.
No.
What's the first thing to do? Make it simple.
Forget about it.
Just get to green.
Get to green. Get to green. That's it.
to green.
No, there's no such thing as forgetting about it. The brain doesn't forget anything. Anytime something bad happens to you, don't try to solve the whole problem. Just say, let me get myself to green, which is take a pill. And Josh, you were partially right. I can do that by breathing or these other neuro hacks. But all I got to do, I must know the first thing to do. The first thing to do is I have got to get my brain to green. And you can do that. And you gave me examples at the beginning of this about getting to green. Okay? All right. So let me summarize everything. Your brain controls your muscle sequencing, your force, and your ability to hold the target. Golf is a target sport. You want to hit that ball to a target, right? In golf, you're going to have bad shots. When you have a bad shot, you must say, okay, where am I? Am I red? Am I yellow? Am I green? And based on that, you want to make the right adjustment. So I'm going to give you access to an app that will help you make the right adjustment. Because if you're red, you need to do something different. If you're green, you need to do something different. If you're yellow, you need to do something different. So I just gave Coach Steve a code. The name of the app is called Gyra, G-Y-R-A Golf. You can download it. Coach Steve will send you the code. It'll be free for you for 3 months. After 3 months, you can cancel it. And that's a gift. I'm giving you a gift because I like you guys. So this is how it works. It's very simple. So what you have there is, it'll say, and the first time that you use it, I need you to go play by yourself. Don't play with somebody else. I want you to think of this app as your caddy. And after each shot, you are going to give it a number from 1 to 10. Let me explain that number. It's very simple. So the scale of 1 to 10 is, what do I want to do and what is the result? So let's do an example, okay? Let's say that I'm in the middle of the fairway and the pin on the green is back right and it's exactly 150 yards. And for you, that's a perfect 9-iron. Everybody following me? Okay, so let's say I hit my 9-iron and I nail it. I'm 3 feet from the hole. That would be a star. Right there. That would be a star because I did what I wanted to do. The difference between what I wanted to do and what the result was 0. All right. So let's say the pin is back right. I'm aiming at the pin and I pull it about 5 yards left. What number would that be? Maybe a 2 or a 3, right? Okay. Everybody following me? All right. So let's say the pin is 150 yards, perfect 9-iron, the pin is back right, and I shank it into the hazard. What number would that be?
10.
A 10. Okay. So let's say again, 150 yards, 9-iron, and I hit it back left. I'm off the green, but I am left, and I can chip. What number would that shot be between what I wanted to do and what the result is? Yeah, probably a 5 or a 6. Very good, Brent. So most people, they have a post-shot routine already. You have one. You know what yours is? Oh man, I can't believe I did that. Oh, I hit it too hard. I hit it too soft. Oh, that went left. And I want you to replace that by saying, okay, between what I wanted to do and what the result is, what's that number? When you hit that number, it is going to give you the exact neural hack that you need. So when you get the app and you download it, the first time that you use it, it's going to ask you for some questions like your favorite shots, your favorite food, upload a few pictures. Please take time to do that. Those are your hacks. You know that those 5 words that I told you to give, all the stuff will go in there. It's automatic. All right. So when you play by yourself, remember, please play by yourself, even if it's 9 holes. Just go by yourself and play 9 holes. Because if someone else is playing with you, it will be a distraction. I want you to play by yourself. And depending on the shot, it'll give you exactly what you need to do to make the right adjustment. Now, why is this important? It's important because, going back to the definition, your ability to make the right adjustment is mental strength. And by the way, that applies for life too. And based on where your brain is, right at the bottom over here, as you keep score with this app, it's going to tell you whether your brain is green, yellow, or red. Automatically. It's got like 30 algorithms in it. Now, this is where course management comes into play. If you look at your brain temperature before you hit a shot, it's, oh, it says I'm green. That usually means that you've hit 2 or 3 or 4 really good shots in a row. My course management is attack that pin, attack that fairway. It doesn't matter what the fairway does, what your shot is, you can just attack it, because when your brain is green, your sequencing, your force, and your target is going to be good. If you're yellow, you should still be aggressive, but pick a much more conservative target. If your brain is red, then you play super conservative. You just chip out, punch out, hit the easiest shot you can hit. So there's a guy that last summer, he played on the Canadian tour. He had no status. He Monday qualified. He just graduated from college. He had all the shots. And he was saying, he came up to me and he said, you know, Doc, I always struggle with what shot to hit when I'm playing. And oftentimes I don't hit the right shot. Like, I know I can hit this shot, but it doesn't come out the way that I wanted to. So I taught him this system. He Monday qualified twice. He played in 4 as an amateur. He played in 4 PGA Tour events. He made the cut in all 4 of them. And the only thing that he did differently was he just made decisions based on where his brain was. If his brain was red, he's not going to attack that pin. He's not going to go after that par 5. He's going to play super conservative. And suddenly, because he was making plenty of birdies, but he was also making a lot of bogeys and double bogeys. So this allowed him to eliminate all of the high numbers, because the high numbers only come when your brain is red. It doesn't matter what your skill level is. Okay, so I've given you only 2 homework assignments. Next week, we'll talk about putting. Your 2 homework assignment is, number 1, make a list of those things that you like to do and things you don't like to do, plus your 5 words, and give them to Coach York and to Coach Steve. And I'll let them decide when they need it from you by. Certainly by next Tuesday when we talk again.
I've actually already received one of them.
Oh, good. Fantastic. Good job. Now, what you're doing now by doing that is you're helping your coaches help you. The very fact that they hired me tells me that they care about you. I'm not cheap. They're hiring somebody that's world-class because they love you guys. They care about you guys. Why else would they do this?
That's a fact.
So help them help you. Give them the ammunition that they need so that they can say the right things to you, so that they can keep you green. The next homework assignment is for you to download the app, make sure you answer all the questions, and make sure you upload a bunch of pictures and video pictures in there. And then go play 9 holes with yourself. And when you get done, save it and share that with your coaches. Your screenshot is going to look something like this. And this will tell you, okay, and this is a real one. So this person was green about 60% and they were yellow red about 40%. And this shows you exactly where they were green, yellow, and red. Now the coaches can really help you. If they see, oh, there are lots of yellows and red in the first 2 holes, that means you're not warming up very well. Or if they see there's a lot of yellows and reds at the end, well, that means that you're not finishing very well. Or in the middle of the round. So this is going to help them help you too. Now, sometimes they'll be with you, but sometimes, they can't be with all 5 of you or all 6 of you playing. So I want you to change the way that you think about your performance from your score, fairways hit, greens hit, putts made. That's the result. That's the result of your brain. That's not the cause. The cause was, where was my brain? And if you can work with your coaches and say, hey, okay, on that shot that you hit, the one that you had a 5 on or an 8 on or a 10 on, were you really green before you hit that shot? Come on, Alex, tell me the truth. Were you green when you hit that shot? No, coach, I wasn't. Did you use a neural hack? Did you do something to try to get to green? No, coach, I didn't. All right, next time, when you feel that way, make sure you get to green first. Now you're solving the right problem. If you don't have that conversation, you're going to go to the range and hit about 100 balls to fix that mistake, whereas the mistake wasn't your swing, it was your brain. Does this make sense, boys? Okay.
Dr. Justice, so in a warm-up session, are you a big fan of hitting a bunch of balls during warm-up, or are you more on the, we ought to be trying to get our brain right? Because just myself, I've gotten to the point where I don't hit but about 10 balls when I warm up. And normally I play the first hole as good as any hole in the round. Interesting.
Yeah. No, so I am in the latter camp. It's all about quality. So the only purpose, think about of what a warm-up is. A warm-up is to get ready to do what you're about to go do. The more different that a warm-up is from what you're getting ready to go about to do, the more useless it is. So for example, let me give you an example. If you're standing there on the range and you have a bucket of balls and you hit one after another, how close is that to you going to go play golf? When you go play golf on the first or second hole, are you going to have a bucket of balls? Are you going to be hitting a shot without shooting what the yardage is? Are you going to hit a shot without a target?
Interesting.
So that's not a real warm-up.
No.
The purpose of a warm-up is to get ready to go do what you're about to go do. Why would you prepare in a way that doesn't even resemble what you're about to go do? Every shot you hit, take your rangefinder, shoot something on the range, whatever, a mound, a flag, an old ball, and say, okay, let me pretend this is hole 6. It's 140 yards away. Okay, well, what am I going to hit there? hit that shot. Oh, I hit a good shot. Oh, I hit a bad shot. Okay, well, why did I hit a bad shot? Yeah, because I'm red. All right, well, go to the app or do a neuro hack or tell coach, hey, coach, I'm red. But hitting one ball after another without a target in mind, without a yardage in mind, is not warm up. That's practice. Practice and warm up are not the same thing. So I would rather that you hit maybe 10 balls, 15, 20 balls at the most. So that includes putting, chipping, and make each one of them count. Would you ever hit a putt when you're playing in a round and not know that this is for par, this is for birdie, this is for bogey? There's no scenario when you're playing. So why would you go to the putting green in your warm-up and just hit one putt after another? Put 3 balls down and hit one putt after another. That makes no sense. That is not what you're going to go do in a few minutes. So why are you doing it? So when you go to the putting green, take only one ball. I never want to see more than one ball in your warm-up. Practice is different. Why? Because when you walk to the green in the tournament, in your round, you only have one ball in your pocket or in your hand. Well, that's a lot closer to reality than having 3 balls. When you're playing golf, do you ever have 3 or 4 balls in your pocket when you go play? No. The purpose of a warm-up is to get ready to go do what you're about to go do. The more different that is, the more useless that warm-up is, and your brain knows it. So the two
Are we going to get some more hacks? Is that kind of where we were headed today?
No, so the hacks are in the app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there are many more of them there, and they're in videos, so you can see them. So that's what I meant by we're going to do more hacks, is because each one of them is going to be different for where your brain is. If you're red, we need something different than if you're yellow. So the app will teach you. I do not recommend that you do the app with other people. You go do it by yourself. Go play 5 holes, go play 3 holes. Once a week, you must play by yourself, because ultimately, when you are playing real golf, you are by yourself. I mean, yes, you may have a coach with you, but still, it's you and you. All right, let me stop here. Questions? Is everybody clear on the 2 homework assignments? Next week, when we meet, I'm going to talk about putting and only putting. So last week, we learned about the brain, we learned about the language, we learned about neurohacks. This week, we learned about the neuro diet and your baseline activity, because we want to get that down. And we learned about other neurohacks that are unique to you.
How many neurohacks have you discovered?
Hundreds.
Really?
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the Brain Track, man. Is, but I don't have all of them in the app. I have a few of them there.
Right. So hypothetically, we're in a round. We've hit 2 or 3 deep yellows. We'll say 6s, 5 6s, and the app gives us this hack. And 2 questions. How, I'm trying to think of a better way to ask it. Do they always work, or can your brain be so sideways that the hack just doesn't do anything? And how long will you stay in that mindset?
Okay, good questions. I'm just going to go to mine. Let's see if we can, let me put my phone. So, oh, there we go. All right, so that's the app right there. So I'm just going to pick this thing called Practice over here. All right, can you see that screen there?
It's a little, not really. Can y'all see it, boys?
Let me try to put it in an angle.
And it may be just because you're in a tiny little window on my computer. I'm sure you are on everybody else's
Okay,
also.
but basically it's a scale from 1 to 10. So let's say that I hit that number, okay? So I hit a 8. You can't see it. Let me see if I can get a shadow here. Maybe there's a light or something. There we go. So it gives me a picture, and that's, you can't see it. All right, you are gonna have to go there. So a neural hack by definition does 2 things, okay? Number 1, it brings the brain waves down. And number 2, it brings them down long enough for you to execute the next task at hand. And that can be anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes to 10 minutes. There are lots of variables involved, so I cannot give you a definitive answer. The biggest variable is, what's your baseline? If your baseline is high, yes, the brain waves are going to come down, but you probably won't feel the effect of it. Right? But it is coming down. So it's a 100% guarantee that your brain waves are coming down, but down from what? If you're at 100 hertz and you do the 10-2, the 10-2 brings it down by 15, 20 hertz. You're still at 80. To go from 100 to 80 is a very good thing, but 80 is still very high. But if you're at 40 hertz, which is high yellow, and you do the 10-2 and it comes down to 20, now you're green. You see what I mean?
Yeah. So if let's say we've hit, 2 or 3 8s in a row, we're sideways. I mean, we are deep in the weeds.
So I think, Steve, that you're making this more complicated than it really needs to be. All I want you to think about is, what's my color? That's it. And then let me use a hack. That's all you should think about. And you're going to have to trust me and the science behind it.
Well, I guess
especially with these kids.
Leaning on what you said just a second ago, let's say you're at 100 hertz and this hack takes you to 80. Well, you're still not green and you got to go play another shot. What do you do?
Well, that's what I'm telling you. If you know that you're red, remember this slide over here. It will tell you what your brain temperature is. So your strategy changes now. Now I'm going to be super conservative.
Okay. Now I got you. So you're not going to sit there and do 10 hacks in a row till you feel green. You're just going to play different until you start seeing better results.
Clock is ticking.
Got it.
Clock is ticking. And sometimes when you hit a conservative shot the way that you want to, that makes your brain feel good. A few days ago, it was very windy. There's a short par 5 at my course. And I can always get to this green in 2. I hit a good drive, but now I was right on the border between going for it because there's a big pond, short of this par 5. But there was so much wind. And I said, and the last hole, I just walked off of making a bogey. So even though I hit a good drive, I knew I could just tell that I was high yellow. So I literally took my pitching wedge and I hit a 3/4 knockdown pitching wedge. It only went about 120 yards, but it was perfect. Like I struck that pitching wedge pure. So even though I played a conservative shot, the shot itself was a dot. It was a star. And I remember going to the next hole feeling very good because I felt the sound of the ball strike. It was a nice divot afterwards. And now I was back towards, high green, low yellow. I had a wedge to the green. I said, okay, I'm going to attack this pin because I felt good.
Question for you. Based on what you just said right there, are we looking at the results of the shot or how we struck the shot to put ourselves down a star? For example, you laid up with 120 yards, you might have saw one shot being a high draw, whatever. You hit it a little bit thin, but the results were the exact same.
Yeah, no. So it's no. It's the delta. It's the difference between what I wanted to do and what the actual result is.
So just because I hit it, the results were great.
Yes.
That may or may not mean I have changed my frequencies off that shot.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it does. It does make a difference if the result is better than, like, you can, I talk about this in my book. there is such a thing as a bad shot, good result, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the most expensive shot is, good shot, bad result.
And I think that's what coach is trying to say. So let's take a flag. Let's say you got to where you had wedge to the pin, you wanted to attack it. You hit it to 5 feet, but in your mind, I really wanted to hit a little low draw, and I hit it in the heel and cut it, but it still ended up 5 feet. What kind of a score are you going to give that?
Yeah, that to me is probably about a 2, a 1 or a 2.
Okay.
It's not a star.
Got it. So
there's
star
also-
is perfect.
Correct. And again, just like too many technical thoughts can be a bad thing, I don't want too many mental thoughts. Right?
There's my problem.
So that's why I'm saying, look, guys, all you got to do is come up with a number after every shot and say, I got to get ready for the next shot. That's it. Make it simple for yourself. Am I green, yellow, or red? I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than that.
No.
If I'm yellow, okay, that's fine. I'm a human being. What can I do to get to green? That's all I want you to think about. Make course management decisions based on your brain. And guess what? If you get a number wrong, who cares? If you thought it was a 3 and coach thought it was a 5, it doesn't matter. You did something. Don't worry about it.
Do you go all the way through the putts with this app?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's play this out for a second. We stand up on a par 3. And visually, you just don't see where you can land the golf ball. Pete Dye does that to us a lot, where we just have no clue. It looks like there's no room up there. The reality is there's probably some room, but we stand back there going, I just don't see where to even hit this shot. Like, I see the flag, I see the trouble, but my brain is not allowing me to see the shot. How do we overcome? Yes, physically. How do we overcome that?
All right. So just remember, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit next week when we talk about putting. There are many targets. The brain just needs a target. It doesn't have to, the target doesn't have to be the pin, doesn't have to be a landing spot. The target can be a trajectory. The target can be just a window through which you want the ball to go through. Right? So let me ask Coach York and Coach Steve to kind of pause, because I really want to get some questions from the boys. So boys, what questions do you have? Based on the neuro diet, based on the red yellow system, based on, again, moving this needle back towards green and having some type of a system that allows you to say, where am I and what do I have to do?
Yeah, so like the eventual goal of this is to like not use the app during a round and feel like, yeah, so you feel where you're at and like you have the certain neural hacks written down, so you just know what to do already.
That's
and the more,
exactly right.
Yeah, the more
Well
you
done.
do it, the more comfortable you get.
Well done. That's exactly right, Josh. That's exactly right. And by the way, like I said earlier, if you learn this in golf, you can take it to your test. So use golf to not just become good at golf, but those same neural hacks that you're going to learn that it's going to tell you to do. Like if you hit a 7 on the app, like, so that's not good. That's like low red. You may be taking an exam and you see a question that you don't even know what this question means. You're like, where the hell did this come from? I didn't study for this. Now your brain is yellow or red. And what's the first thing to do? Get to green. Take that pill. It's the same concept. Other questions, boys?
Just to confirm, the app is called Gyra, right? Is there anything like else? Is it just all in all caps?
GYR, it's Jira, actually, Jira Golf.
Okay.
Jira
Okay.
Golf.
All right.
It's not just Jira.
Thank you.
Other questions, boys? I want to make sure that you really understand this. someone explain to me why I am making you guys do a neuro diet 24 hours before the round.
So you
Why
could
am I-
take,
Go
oh,
ahead. Go
so
ahead,
you could,
Josh.
oh my, Brian, go ahead.
So we could just have clear heads going into a round where we can be more consistently in the green during a round of golf.
Yeah. Don't use the term clear heads. That's not a thing. So use the term so that you can be green. The baseline, your baseline is low. And by the way, it's the same thing if you're taking an SATs. So my son just took the SATs on Saturday, last Saturday. He did a neuro diet on Friday. Same concept. Went to bed early, did things that he liked to do, all those kinds of things. All right. So yeah,
oh,
go
never
ahead.
mind.
Go ahead, Alex.
Does like, because I know you talked about with the phones like overstimulating our brain. Does like, let's say 24 hours before we like try to be on our phones as less as possible? Like, does that help?
100 million%.
Okay.
Get
I just
off
didn't know
social-
like with frequencies or anything like that.
I that is the easiest question you can ask me. Yes.
So fast from your phone for 24 hours before a match or a big
yes.
test.
I literally have $1 million professional athletes do the same thing. 24 hours before the game, they get off of it. And they have seen a dramatic improvement in their performance.
Is that like apps like YouTube or like TikTok that like was constantly like entertainment for our brains, or like could we like text like our family and friends? Like is that like the same? Like
No.
is
it's not the
texting
same.
equal the same as
No.
YouTube?
One is communication. That's different.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
can use your phone to communicate. The other is consumption. When you do TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram, you are feeding your brain something.
Okay.
And that something is random. You
Okay.
don't know what TikTok is going to show up. You don't know in your feed as you're scrolling what's going to show up. That's like rolling the dice, and
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
do
I just didn't know if it was also like something to do with like the screen, like in its light, and it's like
not as much.
what
No,
it portrays to our eyes.
it's got more to do with what you are feeding your brain.
Got
So
it.
I would say social media, but definitely text or call your family, your friends. You can do that stuff.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
I mean, just a dumb question. What about Netflix, binging I mean, just sitting down, watching a movie or 2 or 3 shows.
No,
Don't do it.
not the day before. No.
Okay.
Even if it's something like that we like to do that could have been on whoever sent coach their list already. So like try to keep it as
If you're gonna do it, I recommend a 30-minute time limit. If you're gonna watch a movie or a show, so my son likes The Office. He's a big fan of The Office, and so he'll watch that. But it's just one show.
okay.
Remember, all those shows are designed to engage your eyeballs, and you need to give your eyes a rest.
The young man that sent me the likes included basically sports, and I'm assuming that is playing sports, but also watching sports. Is watching sports
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Interesting. It's a little confusing, differentiating between what's good and what's bad.
No. So again, it should not be confusing. It should be very clear the kinds of things that your brain is randomly consuming, whether something that you're proactively, if I'm going to text my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad, I mean, I know that environment. Whereas if I go do something random like TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat or those kinds of things, I never know what's going to happen. So if you want to be an elite athlete, you want to control as many variables as you possibly can. I mean, I'm giving you world-class like performance stuff here. You don't want as many things that you can control, you want to control, because they're guaranteed to be things that you can't control. You're not going to control the weather. You're not going to control the pin positions. You're not going to control, kids from other schools that keep talking in your backswing. I've seen it all.
What about reading a book?
I think that's fine, but again, I think that's read the right book, and I recommend nothing more than 30 minutes. Nothing more than 30 minutes that you are using your eyes. Give your eyes a rest. All right, boys. All right. So next week we are going to talk about putting, and then I'll be there on Friday. But please do the homework assignment, and I'm going to start next week by asking you about all the neuro hacks that you used. I want each one of you to tell me which ones you did. And by the way, you'll see that the neuro hack is not just something physical, but it's also a memory of yours, like some of the best shots you've hit, like those words. It's also pictures, right? So all those things you can use to help your brain. So I want you to go do it on your own and learn it on your own. All right.
Dr. Justice, I know we got a little more time. I know Coach York had some questions he wanted to ask. Are we good to do that? I think we were going till.
Yeah, I really want to make sure that these questions are focused on the kids more than on the adults, though. So I don't want to confuse them anymore.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, future, more coaching prowess.
Yeah, so let's just take that offline.
Okay, are we okay then to just email you a couple lists, some questions? Okay.
Yes.
You good with that, Coach York?
Absolutely.
Okay. Guys, y'all have anything else?
Yeah, I have one quick question. So for the neuro diet, why do you only recommend doing it like before tournaments? Or like why not do it like in everyday life? Like try to like stay off your phone, like all that stuff, like every day. Like
that's a great question. That is a great question, Josh. Fantastic question. And I get asked that a lot. So there are many answers to that question. So one is that it is much more difficult to do in your whole life. If you can do it for your whole life, I think that's great. But I think for most people, especially at your age, the social media is a part of your ecosystem. It's a part of your social life. It's a part of knowing where your friends are and those kinds of things. And it can be much more difficult. So I would love it if you guys can do it all the way through, but I think you can reach a point where you can become antisocial or you don't know what's going on. So I think the reason I don't ask people to do it the whole week is because you're not a professional athlete. My professional athletes, they do it on starting Monday of the tournament, although the round is on Thursday. So they start 3 days before. But that's what they do for a living. You guys are kids. You have friends that play other sports, and you want to know what's going on, and you want to meet up with some people. And I mean, be a kid, guys. If you can't do it, yeah, maybe you can just cut it down as opposed to cutting it off. That's number one. Number two, if you really do it the day before, your brain really feels it. And so the impact of it is much more because you really did it the day before. But I think it's a good question, Josh. That's a very, very good question. It's a very intelligent question. And yeah, I hope that my answer made sense to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem.
Oh, I have a question. What was the other homework assignment besides the likes and dislikes?
It was the app. It's using the app by yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
and
sir.
guys, I just text y'all the code he gave us. It's in the group chat.
So there is like a tolerance for our brain, like with the phones, like the intensity. So that was like one of my questions is like, if we do it every day, our tolerance like for it kind of like lowers. So when we do like go into the tournament like 24 hours before, it does have a like an effect on if we do it a lot and then based on if we do it a little.
So that's another interesting question. I would not compare it to tolerance. You know, that term, I know, like if you drink and then your alcohol tolerance goes, you know, up or down kind of thing. It's not quite like that. So I don't know that that's a good analogy, Alex. It's a good question though. The way that I would put it is you still have to live in this world. And I think it's very difficult for people to completely cut anything off.
Okay.
It really is, even for grown-ups. And so I think it's much better to sort of cut down. So if you want to cut it down, like, you know, if you have an iPhone, every week it'll tell you how much screen time you've had.
Yeah. I was asking that because I actually did like put some like limits on my phone to where I can only go on certain apps for a certain amount of time to where.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. My kids do the same thing. I recommend that to every kid and parent. Limit the amount of time. But I also think that if you proactively, consciously, 24 hours before, you start to work on it. And remember, it's not just limiting stuff, it's doing things that you like to do. It's two things.
Yeah. Okay.
Do things that you like to do. Don't do things that are going to harm you, meaning raise your brain waves.
Okay.
It's not just one thing.
And the things that we don't like to do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sweet. Thank you.
I mean, believe it or not, many people hate doing laundry. I don't know if you do your laundry or your moms do it for you, or dad, I don't know. But for some reason, I've heard that 1,000 times. I hate doing laundry. Well, okay, well, the day before a tournament, don't do laundry. Do it 3 days before or do it the day after. But it's amazing how simple things like that, if you just become aware of it, you suddenly show up to the tournament just a little bit more chill, just a little bit more towards yellow and green versus yellow and red.
Sweet. Thank you.
Sure thing. All right, boys. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.